Good evening friends, I am Gopi Krishna from Glorious IAS Academy. In our economic series, today we will discuss about some concepts of budget. And so budget is a big topic, so we will do a part of it. So as you all know, as you must be aware, the word budget is not there in the constitution at all. So constitution only mentions about annual financial statement. Article 112 mandates that President shall lay down before both the houses of parliament annual financial statement. Basically it contains about all the receipts, all the money that comes into the government and all the expenditure government makes on various schemes and various other means to run the government. So article 112 mandates the president every financial year they have to submit an annual financial statement. So it has many purposes. One purpose is no rupee can be collected from the people without the approval of the parliament. So it shows the supremacy of the parliament, and no rupee can be spent from the consolidated fund of India without approval of the parliament. So it also again shows the parliamentary control over the executive. And also, as you all know, budget is passed in the parliament, so basically with a simple majority. So every financial year, the government is gaining the confidence of the parliament. Obviously, government has the confidence, that's how it's in the power. But this mechanism ensures that every year it is being, revalidated. So every year there should be a majority of the member of parliament supporting the government, otherwise budget won't pass. If the budget won't pass, the government has to resign. So it has that purpose also. So who prepares the budget? The Department of Economic Affairs, coming under Ministry of Finance, prepares the budget. So every February 1st the budget is presented before the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and till 2016-17 railway budget used to be submitted separately, but now it is merged with the general budget. There is no railway budget separately. And a budget is presented in the February of the financial year. Why? Suppose 2025-26, the financial year starts on April 1st and it continues till 2026 March 31st. So this is the financial year, and we are submitting the budget, presenting the budget on February. Why? Because it takes some time. There are formalities in the process of the budget, like a budget has to be presented and the demands of the grants will be there. Different ministries prepare what all the expenditure they have to make, and then that will be scrutinized by the departmental related standing committees. After that, appropriation bill will be passed, and then finance bill will be passed. So it takes time. That is why by February 1st, if we prepare, the idea is government will be in the position to implement the new budget from the April 1st. Sometimes it may get delayed also. So because of these dates, there are three figures a budget has. One is budget estimate of the next year. So budget is nothing but an estimate. Government, nobody knows exactly what is going to happen in the next year. So but because of the previous year's experience, we have a fair understanding. This much receipts we are going to get, this much money we are going to get through tax and non-tax revenues and other means. And this is the expenditure I am going to do, because budget is also the vision of the government. Government is mandated by the people, and government is implementing the aspirations of the people. It is making the aspiration of the people into a reality. Otherwise, if the government doesn't fulfill the aspirations of the people through budget, so it may lose majority and it may lose confidence of the people. So it is basically, the important point is it is only estimate. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. So we have estimates of the next year, that is 2025 April 1 to March 31st, what are we going to do? A rough estimate we have. It's not very rough, it is very accurate, but it is only estimate because it's not reality yet. And we have revised estimates of current year. What is current year? In this context, if you take current year is nothing but 2024 April 1st से लेके we have 2025 Feb Jan 31st, let's say, because we are presenting on the it won't be Jan 31st also, somewhere there. So because almost 10 months time has passed. Last year budget was presented, 24-25 budget was presented last February, but 10 months has elapsed. So we have revised estimates. So the finance department calculates. See, I have approved so much, expenditure to be spent. So how much actually they have spent? So it will, calculate and give a revised estimate. From the budget estimate, it will be revised. So this is for the 2024 to 25. This is also not accurate because accurate figure will come after the finish of March 31st. Then only financial year will be completed. Then the data will be compliant, and then actual figures will come. So what are actual figures of last year? So this is the current years. So what are the actual figures of last year? 23-24. So 23-24. 23 April 1st से लेके 24 March 31st. So this is totally over, and all the figures are there. So we will know exactly what actually was received and what actually was spent. So budget always has three figures because of these dates, April to March 31st. So we have three figures: budget estimates of the next year, and revised estimates of current year, and actuals of the past year, last year. So this is the why we have 3 years. And we have different types of budget also because of the conventions and because of the requirements. One is full budget. So in the normal years, full budget is presented, like 2025-26 we have full budget. But during the election years, interim budget will be presented. What is interim budget? Suppose 24-25 we have elections. So while budget is being prepared by the February 1st, say if the government presents full budget, so it is assuming that suppose government is presenting the full budget, and the present government which presented the full budget, suppose it doesn't get the majority of the house, then it will lose the power. Then that budget, the new government may not like the policies implemented by the last government. So because of this situation, during the election year, it is a convention of the Indian Parliament that they will present interim budget. So interim budget is only valid till the new government takes power. So once a new government is formed, say in June, they may like to continue or they may like to have new budget in place. That is interim budget. And we also have vote on account. What is vote on account? Basically, sometimes, as I have discussed before, budget preparation and approval by the competent authorities may take time. So when it takes time, but government has to run. So when the government has to run, they need expenditure. So they need the approval of the parliament for the running of the government. Otherwise, government can't run without money. So government usually gives, say, 2 months expenditure power. So that is 1/6 of the money will be given for the government to take about day-to-day administration. So government will run, and in the meantime budget will be passed, and that will be implemented by the government. That is vote on account. So in budget there are other concepts also, like zero based budget. What is zero based budget? Suppose you also become officer in future, and you head a department or become part of the department. So the finance of the state or the center, it will keep asking you about the what is the budget estimate for the next year, and also revised estimate for the current year, but budget estimate of the next year, how much you want to spend. And so usually what officers do, they take whatever the estimates are there for the previous year, and they change in that. So they keep adding some percentage in it, or they keep deleting something in it. So they take previous years as a model, and on top of it they will do editing. But zero based budgeting says, imagine this is the first budget you are having, zero based, nothing was there before. So what happens is, you are going to think afresh. Basically you will see what are the requirements needed for the department, and based on the requirements you will make the estimates. That is the idea. So you won't go from the you don't be burdened by the past ideas, and you will think fresh. That is the zero based budget. You will assume there was no budget before, and accordingly you have to make the estimates based on the actual requirement only, not because something was done in the past. So 100 crores was spent on this, so I need 110 crores for that. It shouldn't happen like that. But if the requirement is there, accordingly you have to give estimates based on the give justification also. And there is a concept of outcome budget. Basically budget has outlays. Outlays means, suppose for a scheme it will say 500 crores is being, it should be spent on the scheme. This is the outlay. But what is the outcome of that scheme? How many people have to receive education? How much enrollment has to increase? How many schools have to be repaired, or how many new schools have to be constructed? That is outcome. So the outcome budget emphasizes on the what are the outcomes for the citizens, how it is going to benefit. That is the more important than outlays. It should not be based on the figures, the amount of monies, but it should be based on the outcomes. How much happiness, or how much human development index it is increasing, or how much discrimination it is reducing, how many inequalities it is reducing. So the outcome budget emphasizes on the outcomes, and justification has to be given, and importance is not given for the outlays. So this is another aspect which is important. And gender budgeting. So gender budgeting was introduced in 2005. It is still being continued. Basically the budget has gender specific initiatives, and so the outlay also out of the total outlay 8.86% is has for the gender related component. It was 6.8% only before, and for some schemes have 100% gender budgeting, some have 30 to 99%, and some have less than 30%. Like 3 groups will be given under gender budgeting. So gender sensitive programs, schemes will be implemented to reduce the gender discrimination. As we all know, there is a discrimination on women from birth to death. Even they are trying to kill the girl child in the womb only, and nutrition given to girl child will be different, and nutrition education attainment of the girl child will be different. So to reduce the gender disparities, to reduce the gender gaps, so gender budgeting is introduced by the Government of India. It is being implemented. It is very positive thing. So how the budget is the procedure of introduction of budget, and how it is implemented, and how the approvals are taken in the Parliament. Let us see. First, annual financial statement is introduced in the Parliament by the Finance Minister with the signature red suitcase. So annual financial statement is introduced. So immediately after annual financial statement, there won't be discussion. The houses will be adjourned, and later the discussion will happen on the annual financial statement, but that will be only it won't be a detailed discussion. And then there is something called demand of grants. The demand of grants is all the ministries will prepare this much expenditure I require for this financial year, and these are the reasons. There are 58 ministries are there. It keeps changing due to restructuring, and they will submit the demand of grants. The demands of grants are scrutinized by department related standing committees. 24 of them are there. So they will get a specific time to scrutinize the demand for grants, their validity, and then they will submit the reports to the both the houses, and then they will then the discussion will happen, and voting will happen. So what happens if there is enough time, if it is not there to discuss about the demand of grants fully, then on the last day all the demands of grants will be approved by the house, and it's called gluttony. So basically full time will not be given or will not be got for all the ministries, for the parliamentarians to discuss about all the ministries to check the validity. Enough time is not there. It is happening even now. So then appropriation bill is has to be passed. So demand for grants and appropriation bill are closely related. In demand for grants, basically ministries are saying, different ministries, I want X amount of money, I want Y amount of money, I want Z amount of money. So voting is done on this. So approval is given for this. See, okay, for this ministries XYZ amount is okay, Parliament is saying. But still the government cannot go and start spending on the expenditure. Appropriation bill is the key. Without appropriation bill, it is like a legal key. After the appropriation bill only, government is approved to spend the expenditure on the ministry. It is like a two-step process. So to have parliamentary control on the entire expenditure. So it's like for example, if you have to see, suppose all the family members are sitting and you have a family council and you are discussing suppose what expenditure should happen for movies, for dinner, and for clothes and for food, so in this you will discuss what should be the expenditure, and all of you family council agrees this is the accepted amount. Some sometimes you can cut some amount, sometimes you can increase amount, but finally you have agreed to a amount. Let us say after agreeing to the amount, immediately you cannot start spending it. Again you have to be given a checkbook or a debit card to spend the amount. So it is like a appropriation bill. So immediately after though demand of grant approves that that much expenditure for the ministry is okay, still government cannot start spending the money. Only after the appropriation bill is passed, then only government can spend the money. This is a parliamentary control on the executive and expenditure mechanism. And finance bill is basically to how government gets the receipts through tax and non-tax revenues. So suppose government changes tax rates, they have to introduce in the finance bill what tax rates are being changed and what custom duties are being changed. So once that is passed, then only government can raise the taxes and all the amounts will go into the consolidated fund of India. So that's how government gets the receipts through which it can spend for the expenditure in the appropriation bill. So suppose in the demand of grants, suppose there are cuts. Suppose there is a policy cut, means usually it doesn't happen. Policy cut means the parliament doesn't approve the expenditure which is proposed. If the policy cut happens, then the government has to resign. Policy cut means government lost the confidence, but government has the majority in the house, so usually the budget is smoothly passed. So where the money comes into the whatever the receipts government is collection, so all the money comes into the consolidated fund of India. All the tax revenue, non-tax revenue, whatever the loans we are taking, and post office bank scheme, small savings scheme, PPF, all the amount, whatever the bills government is collecting for the services being given by the government collects fees, all the money comes into the consolidated fund of India, and no amount of money cannot be spent without the parliamentary approval, which we have seen just before. And another point on the appropriation bill and financial bill is they are both money bills, as you are aware. So money bills, they are both money bills. So you must be reading about them in polity. Basically, money bills, in money bills, lower house, the Lok Sabha will have more powers compared to Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha can only make recommendations of change, but it is up to the Lok Sabha to accept those recommendations or reject them. So even if Rajya Sabha makes recommendations, Lok Sabha may reject them and pass the money bills, and they are deemed to be passed as per the procedure. So in money bills, Lok Sabha is given more power because the government won the majority. The Lok Sabha has the approval of the public. They are directly elected by the public, but Rajya Sabha, they are indirectly elected, and states, they sent from the states, and the president also nominates. So if Lok Sabha is not given full powers, sometimes it may so happen that a deadlock may happen, and Lok Sabha may not, the present executive may not has a leeway and freedom to implement his vision which he has presented during the elections, which got the approval of the people. Ultimately, he should be having the power to implement the vision through budget. So that's why the overriding powers are given to the Lok Sabha in money bills. So Rajya Sabha cannot reject them. So as we were discussing, all the money comes into the consolidated fund of India. Then what is contingency fund of India? As the word contingency says, it is for unforeseen circumstances. It is with the president, and previously 500 crores corpus used to be there. Now 30,000 crores corpus is there. So any unforeseen circumstances in like natural disaster, wars, or any new program government wants to implement because of the new situation. So through it is like a impressed money. All the officers also get impressed money, you can use it for any purposes. And so after the contingency fund of India, once the money is spent, ultimately parliamentary approval has to be taken. Once the parliamentary approval is taken, whatever the money was spent, it is being recouped. Suppose out of 30,000 crores, 10,000 crores are spent. So once the parliamentary approval is given, again contingency fund becomes 30,000 crores. So the contingency fund of India gives that freedom, leeway to the government in power, to the executive in power, to face day-to-day challenges, unforeseen circumstances. And public account of India. Public account of India, it is not need not be approved by the parliament. Basically, public provident fund, general fund, and post office saving accounts, all that money comes into the public account of India. It is not being approval of parliament is not required, but all the money government is liable to pay. Basically, for the post office saving accounts, people are giving the money, so it is with the government, and security deposits will be there, earnest deposits will be there. So the that money has to be returned to the publics. That is why in public account of India it is collected and kept there, and government returns them. It is not like government is not going to say I won't pay the money back. Government is a sovereign power, so it will return the money. So in budget, the receipts and expenditure are organized under the revenue head and capital head. So how they are, so what is the main concept is assets and liabilities. So suppose if we get any asset, if we get any revenue without selling a asset and without creating a liability, What does it mean? Simply put, suppose you are getting some money అంటే ఇల్లు అమ్మకుండా అప్పు చేయకుండా without selling your property. Asset means basically it's like a property only, and without selling this or without reducing this and without creating a liability, appu cheyakunda, without, because liability is like we will be liable to pay amount, borrowings. So if we can get the type of receipts we get, they are called revenue receipts. Means if you can get receipts without selling or reducing the assets and without creating liabilities, it is called revenue receipts. So what are those kind of receipts? These are main receipts are tax, non-tax revenue, and also other fees government gets because of the services it provides. In tax revenue we have income tax and corporate tax. In non-tax revenue we have GST, a big component now, and we have custom duties on import exports, and in fees we will have different fees for education also, for health also some fees are there, and transport sector we have some fees, tolls, and again on agriculture, irrigation, in different fees for government is giving services, or some fines. All those things are coming under revenue receipts, because no asset is being reduced or no liability is being created. Nobody can say government ki return my tax money. No, they cannot say. But the government need not pay it back, but it is not the case in other cases like capital receipts, which we will see later. So I hope you are clear on the revenue receipts part. Revenue expenditure means basically it is about day-to-day administration of the government, and it doesn't create any assets. No assets are being created, and no liability is being reduced. Means to assets creation means road construction, building construction. With revenue expenditure we won't do that. And liability reduction means clearing the borrowings. Suppose we have borrowed money from foreign government, we won't clear through revenue expenditure. So what do we do in revenue expenditure? Basically day-to-day running of the government, all the salaries of the employees, be it government employees, defense and police, and also all the pensions, and also subsidies. Government gives various schemes are implemented. All those things are done through revenue expenditure. So in revenue expenditure, no asset is being created and no liability is being reduced. Keep understanding these two words. From these two words only all the concepts flow. So in capital receipts what happens is, we get money by selling the assets or by creating a liability. What do you mean by that? Suppose we have a PSU, public sector undertaking, so we do disinvestment in it. Government owns this PSU and it sells part of the ownership to the public or to a one person. A strategic investor also it can sell. So now our government ownership reduced, but it got money. So it is like selling a asset. Government sold asset and we got revenue, we got money, receipts. So it is called capital receipts. So by reducing the assets and by creating liabilities. What is creation of liabilities? Direct borrowing. Government can borrow through treasury bills also, and through dated securities also. Basically in securities and treasury bills, government gives some kind of interest in securities, so that is why they are bought. Basically it is borrowing by the government through market, and auction is being done by RBI, and the government can borrow from RBI also, and government can borrow from foreign government also, and government can borrow from multilateral institutions also. So capital receipts is all about, so when we are borrowing, liability is created. Government has to pay in future. It's not like borrowing, we get the money for free. We have to pay interest. So interest will go into the revenue expenditure, but the total, when we have to clear the liability. And what is a capital expenditure? Capital expenditure is creation of the assets or reduction of the liabilities. Like building is constructed, land is constructed, they all come under capital expenditure. Roads are constructed, they are all come under capital expenditure because they are assets. So assets give money over a long period of time. Revenue expenditure is day-to-day administration, means we have to run the administration, we have to give salaries, payments and all. But capital expenditure is long-term expenditure. We have to construct dams, we have to construct irrigation facilities, we have to construct different kinds of assets. So capital expenditure is being given a lot of importance by the governments, and you must be following in the budget. We can discuss that differently. More than 11 lakh crores is being allocated for the capital expenditure. So the more capital expenditure investment is done, it is said returns will be more in the future. So this is about revenue receipts, revenue expenditure, capital receipts, capital expenditure. All you have to relate it with the assets and liabilities. How, what are they doing to the assets and liabilities? Whether the assets are being created or whether the assets are not being created, whether the assets are being sold, liability is being created, liability is being reduced. From that, if you see, you won't get confused. So try and understand this conceptually, so that you need not get, you won't forget. And in budget, another concept is deficits. So revenue deficit means our revenue expenditure is more than the revenue receipt. Means so we are getting some money in the revenue receipt. So, and we are spending some. So revenue expenditure is greater than revenue receipt. So obviously we are not able to run the day-to-day of administration because our day-to-day income is not that much. So this signifies that for day-to-day running of the government, we are borrowing the money. So revenue deficit shows our day-to-day income is not so much that our day-to-day administration is being able to happen. So fiscal deficit is total expenditure minus total revenue receipts except borrowings. Means we will take the total expenditure, how much money we are going to spend, and we will take the total amount of money we got except borrowings. So basically fiscal deficit gives the figure of borrowings. How much amount of borrowing government is making to run the government. Here total expenditure means both revenue expenditure or capital expenditure is there, and we take the total receipts, but we remove the borrowings part out of it. So we want to know exactly fiscal deficit shows how much borrowings we are doing. So it is a very important indicator which shows the economic health of the country and also financial stability of the country. Because if the borrowings are very high, appu chesi pappu kudu tindam lantidi untadi. Because if the borrowings are very high, even if our spending is more, it is not useful in the future, because we have to, this is a liability, we have to pay the money back. So what is primary deficit? In primary deficit, we see what is the borrowing without the interest component, because in this fiscal deficit also there will be interest component. So if you remove that, we will see only the net borrowings. It doesn't have interest component also, because interest also we have to pay for the every year we have to pay. We will remove that also, and we will see totally what are the net borrowings through primary deficit. What is effective revenue deficit? In the revenue deficit, that is revenue expenditure minus revenue receipts, it was observed that some of the revenue expenditure, though it appears in the form of revenue for a government scheme, say Narega, but it may create a capital asset. A capital asset like a road may be formed, which is like a asset. So we will remove that expenditure, which is capital asset creating revenue expenditure. We will remove that, and whatever remains, that is effective revenue deficit. That is a concept. Basically, fiscal policy, we keep hearing about fiscal policy, monetary policy. Fiscal policy basically is about two aspects. How you manipulate tax, how much more tax you want to collect or less tax you want to collect, and also how you are going to spend, which aspects you want to spend on capital expenditure you want to spend, or in revenue side you want to spend, and do you want to spend more than the your receipts, through borrowings you want to spend. So fiscal policy is all about managing that. Like monetary policy, you talk about it, from the amount of money you want to keep in the economy. You want to suck up more money, or you want to flood more money into the economy, so so that you can control the inflation and other aspects. So fiscal policy is about, it's a sister policy to the monetary policy. It also tries to control through taxes and spending. So you have expansionary fiscal policy. In expansionary fiscal policy, basically, you want to spend more. Government want to spend more so that you can, suppose recession is there, like Great Depression was there in 1929 in America, and Keynes advocated that government has to spend more, say in construction of the roads or bridges or buildings. So what happens? Employment will be generated. Money will be going to the hands of public. So slowly demand will be created. Then private sector also will start producing more. So the revival of economy happens through expansionary fiscal policy. Suppose if downturn is there, if you follow expansionary fiscal policy, that is you borrow more, you maintain a certain kind of fiscal deficit. So in expansionary fiscal policy, basically government spends more than what it is earning through borrowing. So it may appear not a good stand, but sometimes, suppose our returns on creation of the assets is more than the interest we are paying on the borrowings, then actually it pays off. So it's not we will see what is the fiscal deficit is more or less, that's not important, but what is happening to the how we are spending it, what is the quality of the spending, what are the returns we are getting, that is the most important aspect. So in expansionary fiscal policy, when downturn is there, we use, and contractionary fiscal policy, when economy is heated up, then we use, when the economy is heated up, a lot of money is there with the people, so a government increases the tax and sucks up the money from the economy, and spending is also reduced. So basically we want to reduce the heat of the economy. So basically government manages these two based on the situation required. So when the downturn is there, expansionary fiscal policy is good to revive the demand. So even China is saying now they will, because America is raising the tariffs, so China has to find a market to sell its goods. So China is saying we will increase the domestic demand. Government wants to spend more in China and to revive the domestic demand. And in 2008 also, when economic downturn was there, India was not affected much. One of the reason is government spending increased a lot. So that is expansionary fiscal policy and contractionary fiscal policy. So that's it from my side, friends. Thank you very much. So we'll continue about budget in future videos also. Thank you very much.